My mother ruined my life. She ruined my father's life. She ruined my sister's life. And just when I thought she was finally gone, she comes back to finish my father off, and she did it. It's successful, but I'm not going to let it go down like that. I'm not. I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to find a way to get my revenge on my evil mother, if it's the last thing I do.
Most of my friends look up to their parents. Well, some of them work in the same fields as their parents. Even those who don't live in this town have the support of their parents. But growing up, I told myself that I would never be like my parents. I told myself that I would never touch a drop of alcohol and that I would not date a man for money. Everyone looked down on me. Before I even turned 18, they'd already written my story for me and told me that I could not be anything. At school, the teachers all pitied my situation but never tried to make things easier. When I could not attend classes because my father was once again sick, they didn't check up on me. Nobody wanted to have a deal with the problem girl, who had nothing. I once heard the lady who owns the bakery saying no wonder my sister left as soon as she turned 18. Our family was a disaster. But it was not always like that, I swear. About 9 years ago, my father owned his own business. We had our modest house where all 4 of us lived in the town of Hampton. My mother did all her duties, but she was never warm. She expressed as soon as we could, as soon as we could talk, that she could not deal with emotional children. On the other hand, my father was kind, hardworking, and an absolute saint. He took care of his family and the community, and everybody loved and respected him. But when things were not going well for us, they neglected him, metaphorically spat on him, and called him the town drunk. My father never used to drink so much, but when my mother decided to take off with his best friend, you could say he never recovered. He picked up a temper when he was drunk. When he was sober, he ignored us. During the divorce, my mom gave away custody of myself and my older sister. My sister raised me alone for about a year, before I just woke up one day, and she was gone. When I told my father, he didn't care, and for the next 8 years, I had to take care of myself and my father. My father's business is still intact, but his brother is the one running it now. My uncle occasionally gives us money, but it's become less now that I'm 20 years of age. As you might have guessed, I did not attend college. I graduated high school barely. I had to deal with a lot of things, such as taking care of the household and looking for my mother. My father was diagnosed with diabetes within the same year. Luckily, he was on insurance, but the only problem was that he did not want to adhere to treatment. He threw away all the healthy food that I bought for him, and he took his stress out on me. That's right. He called me the worst insult that I could ever imagine, which I was like my mother. I was not allowed to go on class trips, for he was always suspicious and accusing me of the dumbest of things. My mental health during that year was at the all-time worst. This was what my sister had to deal with when she was her senior year, after my mother left. Now I could not blame Sarah for leaving. Over the years, I did try to look for my sister. My father says that she's probably 6 feet under, but I don't want to believe that. She's the only family member, the only human being I have left who's not used me, who does not treat me like I'm nothing, and when I'm done scrubbing the floors at the local bank, I come back home to a cold house. Sometimes I'm lucky and my father has left for the night off to drink. When his money runs out, though, he takes my money. I cannot do anything to stop him. He would never lay a hand on me, but he does get scary when he doesn't get what he wants. My uncle doesn't give me money anymore, so I've taken care of everything on my own. I'm always so stressed and there's just no reprieve. I see my friends in college, some working already, and I feel that I've absolutely been cheated. Sometimes I just want to pack my stuff up and leave. It should be that easy to leave this town where every day a piece of my soul dies. I have no one who truly understands what I'm even going through. I've never stopped confiding in my friends. They live different lives to mine and cannot understand that I cannot hang out with them. The truth is that I cannot leave because I'm just afraid that any day soon I'll find out that my father is gone. He's not taken his meds for 2 years, that he got diagnosed even though he does have insurance. When he gets very drunk, he sometimes ends up sleeping outside. All the bars in town now have my number for when he falls asleep there. I'm the one who has to make sure that he eats, drinks water, and doesn't not waste away. That's the worst part, is just sometimes he wakes up and he promises that things are going to be different. He says that he's done drinking, and now he's going to take care of me, and well, for a few days he does stop. He goes into the company for a while and then tells me these new exciting things that he wants to do. But the thing is that the business has gone bankrupt. And within the past few months, my uncle's already left town and told me that if I want to revive it, it's up to me. He says that it's my own father's fault for not sticking to commitments. So, that means that my salary is what we rely on. I've been taking some extra work as a waitress at a new restaurant in town. It's difficult to get to transport to the side of town, and no, I don't have a driver's license. I never got around to getting one. Sometimes I get home at 3 in the morning, and well, then I have to clean the house and make food for the next day. I got a few hours of sleep, and then my day job starts again. When I'm at work, I'm scolded most of the time because I keep on forgetting stuff. I survive mostly on energy drinks, but I know that in the long term they're not healthy. I've not had hope that this hell will end. There's a recurring thought I have, which is not the best thought to be having regarding one old father. He's wasting away, thin as a twig these days. Sometimes I want him to just hurry up and, well, I can't even ride it. He's coughing up blood nowadays and can barely walk without his walking stick, yet he keeps poisoning himself. I have dreams of living a life where I don't have to worry about him, but my care for him is what shackles me to this town. I can't imagine leaving him like that because I remember that he is a good man. All of this would not have happened if it was not for my mother. It's funny how fate works. For I crossed paths with her not so long ago, and it was not a pleasant encounter. I got an interview out of town, and it's for an assistant manager position for a beauty spa, which is going to open up in town soon. The lady who was there to interview me is a compassionate lady who gave me a lift when I was coming late from work. She was impressed by my intellect and expressed that she wanted to give me a chance. She specifically said, "Emily, you're young. You're allowed to chance just to improve your life." Well, this touched me because she's right, for it's been a long time since anybody's expressed that I can do it. I can do anything good. So then earlier this week, I decided to go to the interview at her headquarters. I was in one of those stores while she was explaining, well, everything to me when my mother entered. She didn't even recognize me, but she appeared to be doing very well. She left at the same time that I did, which was when I followed her to her car, and when I called her, she didn't even recognize me and she pulled away. So I went back to the shop and checked the appointment book and found her address as well as her number. So I got an Uber. I showed up at her doorstep, a young girl. Opened up the door, followed by my father's best friend whom she ran away with, and I asked to see my mother, and I called her by her name. Well, he let me in, and I waited for her. I was so happy to see her, not really feeling any resentment for what she did to me, but when she came out and saw me, she told me to leave immediately. I did not get a chance to even explain before she walked me out of her house. There was a look of utter malice in her eyes. It's days later, but I'm still shaken. I just wanted her to acknowledge me. When I got home, I was so angry that I went on her social media wall, and oh boy, I ranted. We exchanged some words over the phone, and she called me crazy and obsessive. It didn't end too well. My heart was filled with bitterness at her words, and to make matters worse, She just complained to the lady who was supposed to give me a job, and she filed a restraining order against me. So, now, I have no job and my own mother doesn't want to see me. I don't know how much of this I can take. I hate that she's happy while we are not. Update. I have bad news. Hey guys, it's been 2 weeks since my encounter with Mother. Well, my father passed away. He passed away in a peaceful manner in his sleep, and after he passed away, I let our family know, and they said they would take care of the arrangements. Even though he's no longer close with his side of the family, it was still kind of them to offer. Well, to be honest, I mourned my father for a long time. He was a good man, and I took it upon myself to make sure that he got the best funeral. I hoped that in the death he would find peace. I wish that my mother could one day feel the pain that she calls my dad. But, well, she knows that he's passed away, but she's not even sent her condolences. And I guess that was too much to ask from the likes of her. In a few days, a few distant family members will arrive for the funeral. I've already started to think about what I want to do with my life, since, my mother's out there living her best life as if nothing's even happened. I'm done. I'm done by living half a life because of her actions. She's put me in this dark space, but it does not mean that I have to remain here. I will not be like my father, remaining frozen in heartbreak that she caused him right up until his early grave. I refuse for that to be my life. I've already spoken to the attorney, and I'm going to sell this house and move away. Maybe I'll go back to school, or I'll do something with the money. It's time for me to choose myself. My father is at peace now, and so my conscience will not haunt me. You guys were right. I just cannot stay in one position all my life because of the past, and I can't change the past, but I sure as heck can change the future. Update. Just when I think I can move on, life throws something right at ya. Hey guys, another update. Well, I guess you could say I celebrated way too soon. I just found out from my father's lawyer that while my father was not a millionaire, he did make sure there was some money left for me. He'd already accepted his death, but he did not want me to suffer after it. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to leave me in debt. I guess I owe you an apology, Dad. I knew that you were still inside there somewhere. You have always taken care of me, no matter what, and now with the money that he's left me, and the money which I'll take from the sale of the house, I'll be able to change my life? Well, after years of rain, I see that silver glimmer of a rainbow. But there's a slight problem. At my father's funeral, the last person I thought would attend showed up. I was speaking my father's eulogy when I saw her at the back. I was lost for words. Everything just went blank in my mind, and I thought I was seeing a ghost. For 8 long years, I've searched high and dry for Sarah. In my heart, she's my late sister who I wish I could just get 5 minutes with. Yet she was there at the back of the church at my father's funeral. I finished speaking about my father and I walked up to her. She tried to hug me when I came near, but I pushed her away. She had tears in her eyes, but I felt a cold shock. I let her stand there and left the church. I sat outside for 20 minutes and then I came back in. We got ready to go and bury him, and she was nowhere to be found. Fast forward to when we were laying him to rest, and as the first soil hit the coffin, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I just knew it must have been her. "What are you doing here? Go back to where you've been for 8 years. And that's when my uncle yelled, "Emily, now's not the time." So I look him in the eyes and I tell him, "Oh, as if you care about how I feel. Can you not see this traitor who's standing next to me? Now she wants to be present at the funeral when I've been the one taking care of him for all these years." Well, he went silent, and since the funeral was pretty much done, I just left them there to pretend to care about my father. Where was she when I needed her? She clearly knew where to find me, and she did not. She was just like my mother. Woe is me to be cursed with such selfish family members, the whole lot of them. I vowed to fast-track the transfer of the assets into my name. Then I too would leave this town. I was done walking the streets of Hampton, especially now that Sarah's back. I'd requested that there would be no coming to the house after the funeral, and instead I started to pack my father's clothing. I was going to give it away to charity the very next day. Afterward, I cooked food for myself and sat alone. I was shaken by the events of the day, angered even. Then I went into my father's office and took his favorite bottle of scotch. She came in as I was pouring the glass, and she asked to speak to me, and she wanted to explain. And so that night, we drank our father's scotch while she told me exactly what she's been up to. Her life was normal. I was a bit disappointed, and she was working, engaged, and happy. She said she felt guilty for not reaching out sooner, but she was just hoping to rectify it that night. I listened to her, and then I told her the hell I had been through because she wasn't here. With each new thing I told her, she averted her gaze even more. She was less confident as the night went on, and I told her that she could go back to where she lived the next morning. I've accepted that I no longer have any family. She tried to plead with me and tell me that she cared, and I told her to leave, but she said that she did not have a place to go. I didn't care. I kicked her out in the middle of the night. It was not that easy to come back after 8 years as if nothing happened. Over the past few days, she's come to the house and knocked. I hear her and I see her, but I leave her standing there. I want her to go away, for I have little patience for her. Update. She's revealed the reason why she is here. I knew that she was not here to be sisters. She knows that father left me money and she wants part of it. Uncle is the one who managed to track her down and tell her of her father's death. She heard through the grapevine that I inherited a fortune, so then she set up meeting with me and the lawyer. I had no choice but to attend. In the meeting, she told me that I needed to give her half of what my father left because she's the eldest. I told her to go back home, stop dreaming. So, I told the lawyer that I did not care what story Sarah told him to, well, get him to meet with both of us, but she was not my father's daughter, and yeah, we might share the same DNA, but my father had no wish for her to inherit anything. I told her to go home and stop wasting her time. She could not do anything to legally force me to give her half of what her father left me. In his will, I got everything. My father's lawyer told her just as much and told her that he would be sending her an invoice for wasting his time. Then he left us. As I was getting up to leave, she told me that she needed me to hear her out. I'm not trying to steal the money from you. If it had been any other time, I would have never even tried to claim that money, but I need the money. What have you been doing with your life for the past 8 years then? If you're broke, then go look for a job. I owe you nothing. It was at that moment I was losing patience. She was like a fly buzzing around your head nonstop, singing the same tune every single second. She fell to her knees and tears formed in her eyes, and she said, For 8 years, I've regretted leaving you. I've wanted to come back, but each time I could not face you. And now I've come before you to ask for help, and I have no way of getting the money. I need it. Tears started streaming down her cheeks, and I tried to walk away just to harden my heart to her obvious emotional blackmail. But, well, she held on with an iron grip to my knees, and I found my heart stirring. I told her to let go of my legs and to sit down and tell me why she needed the money. It had to be a good reason, otherwise I was not going to give her a cent. She told me that she found out that she was pregnant several months ago. The problem is that she lost her job and she's been finding it hard to find another. She really wants to keep the baby and give it a better life than she had, but she does not have the money. The father of the baby does not care about it. He told her to take care of it, and he's already emotionally abusive to her. Even though she was the one paying rent where they lived, he kicked her out. Since then, she had been couch surfing, unsure of what to do next. It was when she was at a dark moment in her life that my uncle contacted her, telling her about Dad's death. She knew Dad had a business, so she hoped that she would be able to get it from him. But when she arrived, she saw how cold I'd become. She did not think I would even care to hear about her life, and, well, she was ashamed. All those years that she's been gone, she had not done anything with her life. She led a substance-filled life, and she was not even engaged. She was just in and off relationships with her boyfriend. She did not think I would understand, and she was fast running out of time. She had nowhere to go, no money, no family. So she tried to forcefully get me to give her half of the money. But when I was about to leave, she realized that she had not once been honest with me ever since she arrived and started to feel oh so guilty. I was shocked by what I heard, and I was pained. It seemed that our family was doomed to suffer in this life, and she said that when she gave birth, the only other option was to give the baby up and then consider taking a job, even if it compromised her dignity. Of course, I could not let my own sister give up her child. I told her that she could come back to the house and we would deal with the money thing another time. She's now staying with me while I try to figure out what the heck to do next. I think the logical thing would be for her to stay here with me. I could give her half of the money to use to take care of the baby when he or she comes. It's clear that her boyfriend is not going to step up. Maybe this will be our second chance as sisters do what our parents could not do and take care of the baby. Our father loved both of us, but in the last few years, he was not a parent to me. He was not a parent to her either because he did not even look for her. Now that I think of it, why am I angry at her? She was 18 and she had to take care of a 12-year-old, and while our father drank himself into a stupor every single night, she was not mentally strong enough and I did not understand it, but I understand her now. I'll speak to my father's lawyer in a few days and I'll give her what she needs. It'll be up to her if she decides to stay or if she leaves after she gets the money. If I chose money over my own blood, then what kind of person would that make me? What do you think? Should I give her half of the money even though she's been absent for the past 8 years? I'm just conflicted. There's another part of me that says that she's a grown-up and she, well, should figure this out. I guess it's part of me that has had to fend for herself for nearly a decade. Final update. Hey guys, this is the final update. Things did not turn out the way that I wanted them to, and I'm very disappointed actually. I've resorted to thinking that I'm going to always be lied to. She gave me hope that she, well, I don't know, then she just twisted this knife into my back. I stayed with Sarah while the lawyer worked on processing the papers, and I still went to work during that time. I was still reeling from the death of my father. I mean, come on. I could not stay in the house for too long. That meant that she was in the house the whole day. Within a few days, my lawyer told me that they were ready to sign everything, and she was deeply grateful for what I was doing for her. I mean, I was under the assumption that she was going to stay. I was already entertaining the idea that we could be a happy family. And then one day, when I was cleaning the house, I felt a sprain in my hand. It was a sharp pain, and I was unable to move my hand. Because of that, I dropped the garbage can that I had just taken from her room. I mean, I loved cleaning the house while she was responsible for cooking, so it's normal to me just to go grab stuff out of her room. Everything spilled on the white rug, and I swore colorfully. I knew that I had to have my hand checked out now that I had money. My joints occasionally acted up, and I suspected it's because of overworking. I tried to put everything back in the can, but then my hands touched something that made me pause. It was a packaging for women's sanitary pads. It was clearly packaging that she's been using within the week. The realization was instant. She lied. I finished cleaning up and I called my lawyer to tell him the transfer was not needed anymore. And when she came back from her walk, she still thought the deal was on. She told me about the future of her baby, as if she was really pregnant and I didn't know it was a dirty lie. I was deeply disappointed. At dinner, when the lawyer was supposed to come, she started to question me. I told her, the baby's not coming, as calmly as I could, and she asked why he would not come. So I handed her a pregnancy test and told her he would only come if it turned out positive. How dare you? Are you accusing me of being a liar? Oh no, I'm not accusing you. I actually have the proof. Great! Mother told you already, even though I told her to be patient. She suddenly stood up and swiped her plate off the table, and she's clearly angry, but I did not know where Mother got into this. Tell me everything right now, or I will kick you out with just the clothes on your back. I was serious, and she knew it. She had no choice but to confess her ploy. There was no abusive boyfriend, no baby, but there was money problems. She owed our mother money, so she had devised this plan to get money from me. But Mom was becoming impatient and threatening to tell me everything. You know what she's done to our family. It's her fault. Our father's dead, and you ask her for money? Well, she said nothing to say to me, and she looked at me with anger in her eyes as if I was the one who forced her to make a deal with the devil. I was done with being taken for a fool by herself and her mom. So I told her that she could spend the night, but she had to leave first thing in the morning. I was not giving her a cent of the money. She said that even then I was not going to give any peace because I only loved her conditionally. I was disgusted at myself for falling for this. I did not want her to see, but what she did really hurt me. I was angry. I wanted revenge. I thought of everything that I could do to ruin both of their lives. I wanted them to suffer and beg me to let them go. That night, it was the thought that I went to sleep with. When I woke up, she was gone, and I thought that I would not hear anything from her again. I put the house on the market and started to make plans to go far away where they would never find me. I told myself to let go of the ploy for revenge. I had too much pain in my heart. I literally just settled into my new apartment far away while I was getting ready to start community college when I got the news. My sister and my mom were both in the hospital with third-degree burns. They tried to steal money from my mom's husband when he had lost his temper and burned both of them. I saw pictures of their faces and knew that no surgery was going to help with that. And because he has money, my mom's husband's probably going to get away with it after all. And my mother's other daughter is still in his custody. I just hope that this event was a wake-up call for them. I know the recovery process is going to be slow, tedious, and painful. And adjusting to life after such a traumatic experience will no doubt be difficult. But they put themselves in this position, you know. They've made a life of lying and conning, but it can only get so far. I would say someone can only cause so much pain to others before it comes back full circle, and with that I close the chapter of my life, of my mother and sister. I'm looking forward to seeing what life has in store for me because I just want to live, laugh, and love. For once in my life, I want all that I once dreamed upon to finally come true.
So Sarah and her dirty mother end up with third-degree burns and are in critical condition. I hate to say this, but every single comment down below says karma, 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 and it looks like karma struck again. Yeah, OP's mother might have taken out her father, but she didn't take out OP. OP won in the end, and she's finally living her life how she wants to, and she said she feels free. I'm very sad that it took the betrayal of her mom and the betrayal of her sister before this finally happened, but at least she is free. Now, I'm not going to discuss whether her mom or her sister deserve those degree burns because that's just not a cool thing to talk about. But, like I said, karma struck. Guys, let me know what you thought about this story in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, what's up? My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every single day, animate them as well, and only about 6% of viewers are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoyed today's video and you do want to support it, all you gotta do is click that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.